What's good, y'all? It's your guest, Sister Erica Vane, back again with another Powerbook 3 Raising Kanan video, and this is my last predictions video of season 1. Y'all, let's talk about episode 10 and what's finna go down. All right, y'all, I'm skipping my regular preview video that I typically do before my predictions video, and I am jumping right into these predictions. And let's talk about this trailer first before I also pepper in some other storylines that we don't see in the trailer, but I think have to come up in this episode so that we can have a nice ending point and jumping off point for season 2 as we go through this season finale. The trailer starts off with Kanan. We see he looks like maybe he's in like a little closet or something. Maybe he's at the bodega, honestly. Like there's some stuff behind him on a shelf. He could be in a room in a bodega, but he's talking about he had to do it because of his family. Detective Howard was coming for his family, and that's referencing him shooting Detective Howard in the last episode. The biggest thing that has come up in conversation is that Detective Howard's not dead if they're rushing him to the hospital. If he's not dead, when the paramedics arrive to get him, then there's very much so still a chance that he could recover. And this is interesting because Rock literally preps Kanan in the episode by telling him, shoot him 2 times where his heart is at, 1 time where he used to think. Why is there 1 shot going to the shoulder and then another shot going where we don't necessarily know, and Detective Howard is being carted off on this gurney trying to get some life-saving procedures? Like, you were sent to kill him. He's not dead. What is actually happening over here? Now, for me, and if you haven't already, please be sure to check this video out. Y'all, I got so many videos coming this week, or I've already actually dropped a few, and then there's more coming because there's so much that happened in episode 9 that I wanted to break down. First of all, watch my episode 9 breakdown because it's lit, it's long, and I talk about everything. But also watch my video Rock's Master Plan, where I actually talk about why Detective Howard is not dead and why Kanan didn't actually kill him. That's the video that I'm going to go into depth with that with. I'm not going to do it in this video, so hit the subscribe button, go down into the description box and click the link to watch that video so that you are up on all of the things that you need to know, okay? But in this trailer, we see Detective Howard. After we see Kanan talking about he had to do it, he's on a gurney at the hospital, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to save his life. We also see scenes of New York. We see the helicopter with the spotlight. We see police running through the streets. And once a cop falls, that's it. That's all. All of Blue is ready to ride, and they are riding all through the streets of Southside Jamaica, Queens. We also get a scene where Scrap is in the car with Kanan. This is a very interesting scene to see because we haven't seen Scrappy since he was, since he was fricasseed by Unique and dumped on Rock's doorstep, in a way of showing, like, I knew that you sent this little Trojan horse into my organization and I'm not to be messed with. I'm just glad that Scrappy's still alive, so we gonna go there. Then we get a scene where Rock and Kanan, and she's talking about he got to change his clothes. So Rock is actually at the playground. I think that this is like the bathroom at the playground, and Kanan just goes inside, and then they figure out what to do next, because somebody had to hear the gunshots, right? And again, it was on purpose that he's not dead, and we're gonna see why. And it's definitely going to tie to sending out this red alert for all the police to now be looking for whoever shot Detective Howard. I'm definitely going to go into detail about Detective Howard and the shooting in that other video, but for the purposes of this predictions video, we know that he's not going to die. He's not going to die in this episode. They're going to save him. He's probably going to be on life support or in a coma. Honestly, y'all, this is actually probably going to speed up his overall health concerns, because you already know he still needs that bone marrow. The doctor told him with every day that passes, it's getting worse and worse and worse. He already does not have the immune system to be able to support his recovery. So this is just really going to expedite his need for Kanan to give up that bone marrow, which is going to be a hell of a mind, right? Because ultimately, y'all, I think that Kanan gonna wind up giving up this bone marrow. I ain't even gonna hold you. I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but I think Kanan's going to wind up having to give up this bone marrow. And to have shot this man, almost killed this man, and then now have to save his life, that's going to be some crazy stuff that really messes with Kanan's mind for sure. But I think in next week's episode, in the season finale, we're just going to see Detective Howard survive. And then we're going to see how the police respond in reference to his shooting. And this is going to be a part of Rock's plan. She needs help. She can't just take on Unique alone. She has a smaller organization. She don't have as much product. She don't have it back in the dean. She got a lot of things that are stacked up against her, and being able to bring the cops into the fray and be able to create another opponent specifically for Unique and his organization will help even the playing field for her. So this is killing two birds with one stone and really helping in that regard. Speaking of the cops, we see Burke in this episode, who pulls up Jukebox, and it looks like she's arresting Jukebox. And this is interesting because she was definitely just playing best friends with Jukebox in last week's episode. And we really can see that this picks up exactly where we left off. So she was still with Burke when we see this scene that actually pops up in the trailer, because it's the same clothes that she had on when she met with Burke, and this was after Marvin beat the hell out of her and did some wild disrespectful shit. But she was probably still with Burke as the whole Kanan thing was going down, and I think that Burke is like arresting her here because she can feel the setup. Now, to me, again, I go into depth about this in this Rock master plan video, so I'm not going to do it here. I'm just going to touch upon it. I'm going to dip my toe in the water real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here because we got to still talk about a bunch of other predictions. But I think Burke isn't stupid. She might be green, but she's not stupid. And she could tell that Juke was setting her up, because up until this point, Juke wasn't saying nothing. Juke was barely saying a word to Burke. Every time Burke popped up, every time Burke came around, Juke had no rap. Then all of a sudden she pop up, get in your car talking about something. I just don't want nobody to get hurt. The police about to be in trouble. Then 10 minutes, 20 minutes later, we see an APB out for Detective Howard, who just got hit and is about to die. Like, 2 + 2 = 4. Something ain't right. Something in the water ain't clean. And I think that Burke immediately starts to question Jukebox. And I do believe that it was a setup, because we see in the episode 9, Rock is actually having a conversation with Jukebox, and she mentions, like, I think that officer, I think that police officer likes you, and she says that's a good thing to have. Sometimes having a police officer that likes you is a good thing to have, because you can use that. And they turn around and they use that. Now, in episode 9, I definitely don't think that Jukebox is actually going to get arrested. I think this is Burke's way of trying to rough her up to get to a little bit more answers, and I think Juke is just going to play it how she's supposed to play it, and Burke ain't going to have nowhere to go, so she's going to have to let her go. She's definitely not getting any information out of Juke. Juke ain't never been a snitch. She is very loyal, even if she don't agree with all the things that's happening. She's very, very, very loyal. Now, I think we see Scrap in the car with Kanan, because it's all hands on deck. Even Lou, she done pulled Lou out the hospital, and it ain't even been a day yet. Like, I think that might have something to do with why we see Lulu talking about Rock. What is you doing? You can see he's still very much so hurt. It looks like some takeout on the table. I'm not sure which house they at, because it don't look like they're at Rock's house. It looks like they're at the apartments in the projects. Which makes sense, because the whole point of them actually getting the projects or getting these apartments is so that they can see anybody coming. So this is about to turn into Command Central, and Rock is probably calling everybody in. So Lulu is out for the count. He can't be out here do no work. Marvin is back in the fold. However, he's still on his wild boy shit, right? So he's still doing whatever he doing out here. She done sit Kanan to hit a detective. It's all hands on deck. So Scrap gonna have to get it together too. He might not can do what he would originally done, but he could do something. So he's getting pulled in. She pulled Lulu out the hospital. They already tried to hit Lulu, get him killed in the hospital. So honestly, this is probably the safest place to be. I'm very interested to see if we're going to see Symphony get pulled up here, because I think that we're going to see everybody that matters, everybody that's important to any of the Thomas siblings. They all going to converge on this project as the streets basically get lit aflame. Like, as this war really starts to play out, this is about to be one night to remember in the South Side, and quite a few bodies is going to fall. I think we're going to see everybody converge in this project. Now, we also see Unique in this episode, and he's basically speaking about the war as well. However, it also looks like he gets arrested at gunpoint in this episode. There's quite a few scenes where we see him being thrown to the ground. I definitely think this is him because it looks like the same guy in the same hair. And then we see somebody punching a wall and robbed. And I think that that's unique as well. And this is just different spans of time. And again, like I said, the police get involved so that she can help neutralize Unique. If he go to jail or he die, regardless, either one of those two things is a win to help get him out of her way. Now, one of the things that I don't know what it means or what it's alluding to is we get a moment where we see Marvin in this janitor's uniform for the New York gas company, and it's a person by the name of Frank. So he's in disguise at somebody's place, probably at somebody's apartment or condo. It might be Unique's, so that he could carry out a hit, but I'm not 100% sure. That's the one thing that I don't really have any predictions on. I do think that we're still going to see Symphony in this episode. I think that we're going to see Davina in this episode because there's some storylines that we need further clarity on, and they're going to have to update us before we finish out this season. Now, when it comes to Symphony, I did a video as well talking about why Rock quit Symphony, because I think that it's a little bit more, everything is more than what it appears, right? I think we're going to see Symphony come back around because he got important information about Tony, and she is a threat, right? Like, she is one of the problems. She's trying to take the Thomas organization down. She's trying to flip to save herself, and she's going to be a problem. And at the end of the day, Symphony really does love Rock. No matter how ridiculous Rock is, he has still been there for her. He's still been holding her down. He's still been trying to prove himself. And I do think that he's just thinking that this is another way that he has to show and prove to get to like that next level in Rock's heart. So I think that he's definitely going to appear here. Again, he could appear and come to the project apartment and actually see what Rock did, and like they have a moment and putting two to two together because this idea came from a conversation that she had with him. I think that we're going to see Davina. She's been gone now for about 2 episodes. She was taken into foster care after her mother died. However, she's still a loose end because she was asking questions about D-Wiz and felt the way about D-Wiz and put 2 and 2 together from Famous's song and was starting to press up on Kanan. And Kanan is still very much in love with Davina, very much so, like blinded by her. She is one of his weaknesses, and I think that in episode 10, everybody's weaknesses and strengths are going to come out to play, and we're going to see how they match up with one another, how they actually control them within themselves, and who actually is going to prevail. So I definitely think that Davina is going to be appearing in episode 10 and causing a little bit of problems, and she might be catching a bullet because we gotta tie up some loose ends. Before I finish off this video, y'all, I do want to talk about what I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see a continuation of the conversation between Juke and Marvin. In episode 9, they got real physical. He beat her up, almost strangled her to death after he found out that she was gay, after finding the stuff about Nicole in her room. I don't think we're going to find out anything else about that. I think that we're going to have to wait until season 2 when Jukebox mom comes back into town. We saw that Latoya Luckett was cast as Jukebox mom. If you missed it, I did a video breaking down Latoya Luckett as Jukebox's mom, and they also announced a few other characters that will be coming to season 2. I think that the Jukebox and Marvin storyline, we ain't gonna hear about it no more in this episode. Only thing we might hear is like maybe a mention if Juke actually gets to talk to Rock, or Rock gets to see her face, because Rock is going to have a problem with Marvin doing that to her niece. But other than that, we're not actually going to see that, and that's not necessarily a storyline that we have to see wrap up, right? I think that we're not going to see anything with Crown Camacho or the record label, and maybe not even Jessica in episode 10. That's also going to be things that wait for Lulu to heal up, wait for the war to die down. All of that's going to happen before we actually go back into, you know, Lulu focusing on the music. Right now, he's just trying to focus on staying alive and healing. I also don't think that we're going to see Detective Howard get an answer on this whole bone marrow thing until season 2. We just going to see him survive, but other than that, we're not necessarily going to see much more by way of his storyline. All right, y'all, those are my predictions for episode 10. Another thing that we saw in the trailer that I didn't necessarily have a prediction for is Julia from the bodega. We see her for a quick second, and I feel like that's just to show us like how crazy it's getting outside, because in the trailer we see her looking and seeing the police drive by all wild and crazy. We might see something with Joaquin and Rock actually solidifying her connect in this episode, and that might be why Julia's in the trailer. But for the most part, those are all of my predictions for episode 10. Now it's your turn. Tell me in the comment section down below, what are some of your predictions for episode 10? What are you looking forward to the most in the finale? What did you love the most about this season? Let me know all that in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and join the tribe so that you don't miss any of my Powerbook 3 Raising Kanan videos. And I got a lot, y'all. I got a lot that I'm posting this week. I got a few that I have already posted already, and you don't want to miss them. So get into them, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.